Alright gang, 21 fragrances that I cannot live without. So you'll see the usual suspects in this video, but there are also new fragrances that I'm obsessed with that I cannot live without. If everything was given away, I definitely have to have these 21 fragrances because I'm obsessed with the way these fragrances smell. Find out what they are, all coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today I'm talking about 21 fragrances that I cannot live without. These are some of the most amazing fragrances. I've known about a lot of these for a long time. Some of them are more recent discoveries. Some of the old ones are no longer on this list, but there's a lot of usual suspects that I talk about over and over again. But these are definitely some of my favorite fragrances, and you're going to find out what they are, starting with this first one. A fragrance created by Dominique Ropion, one of my favorite fragrances of all time in the niche world. And this is one of the fragrances I started talking about way back in 2013 on a previous YouTube channel reviewing fragrances. So I'm talking about Portrait of a Lady from the house of Frédéric Malle, created by Dominique Ropion. This is a masterpiece, launched in 2000, I believe. No, 2010. So it's about 13 years old for this fragrance. That's how long it's been around. And it still smells great, although, yeah, it has gone through some reformulations, probably gotten a lot thinner. But I think the smell is quite intoxicating. Spicy, patchouli, smoky, fruity, woody, resinous, ambery, and you gotta always remember the rose that's in here, because the rose really creates this wonderful offering from this house. It's definitely a masterpiece, one of the best fragrances ever out there in the world of niche perfumery. This is Portrait of a Lady from the house of Frédéric Malle. So we're moving to a designer fragrance, my favorite designer fragrance of all time, still on the market, still selling, hard to get though, really, really hard to get. I'm talking about the house of DIOR with DIOR Homme Parfum in the 100 ml. And what I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video is all the fragrances are currently on the market, and I do see them selling. So no discontinued fragrances on this list. Perhaps I'll do a version of this video with, you know, discontinued fragrances. But hey, if I can't get the fragrances, probably not worth doing a video featuring these fragrances, especially since you guys can't get them either. But going back to DIOR Homme Parfum, definitely one of the best designer creations of all time. Thankfully, it's still selling. There are posts here and there that say it's discontinued. On the last trip I took to Europe, it was really hard to get. But guess what? I looked around in Paris, didn't find it. I looked around in duty-frees and I couldn't find it. But in the south of France, in the city of Cannes, on La Croisette, there's a small DIOR beauty store there that sells perfumes. And they had bottles of it. I didn't buy any because I didn't have any space to bring back any, but it is still selling. It's just really, really difficult to get. But what's great about this fragrance is taking the original DIOR Homme and intensifying it and making it really concentrated and really super sexy with iris, sandalwood, leather, ambrette, agarwood or oud, cedar, rose, and orange. It's a masterpiece for me. Absolutely love it. DIOR Homme Parfum is definitely a great fragrance. Hopefully they don't really discontinue this stuff. I did ask at Printemps in Paris. They said we run out all the time. We don't have any currently in stock, and so on. So moving on to the house of JOVOY, another niche house. We have Psychedelique here from this house. One of the best patchouli fragrances, a chocolate cakey patchouli, utilizing this very earthy patchouli, very woody, earthy patchouli note, and it's actually against kind of ambery notes, vanillic notes, balsamic notes, resinous notes. So these notes that I just mentioned, along with the patchouli, creates, well, those notes, the amber, resins, balsams, and vanilla, creates a chocolate cakiness when it's put against the earthy patchouli that's in here. But along the way, you also have musk, you've got amber, vanilla, labdanum, geranium, rose, and citruses. one of the best fragrances that features patchouli. The patchouli is the star note here, but to me it is definitely a chocolate cakey patchouli. Not gourmand, but maybe gourmand light, because there's no real chocolate. It just creates like an accord, like an effect of chocolate cake. Anyway, JOVOY Psychedelique. I could never live without that one. That is one of the best fragrances in my collection, and I love smelling patchouli on me and off of me because it smells really, really great. Moving on to the house of DIPTYQUE. This is BENJOIN BOHEME, this one right here. So this one is a bit of a toss-up. This fragrance is now no longer going to be sold in this bottle. They're moving it into the original black bottles for the house of DIPTYQUE. So soon you'll be able to get it again. I think it's kind of not selling, but you might be able to find it. But it's supposed to make its debut in the black bottles. But what I like about this fragrance is its benzoin. It's the star note, a sweet resin note, slightly smoky, slightly sweet, kind of like the anti-vanilla. It has its sweetness, but it's not as sickly sweet like vanilla can be. And that's what I like about this one. Along with Sandalwood, Styrax, and Patchouli, the combination is really, really gorgeous. It's sad it's moving out of this bottle, but there was a whole collection of fragrances in this house with these bottles. They all had different caps and different color bottles as well. They got discontinued except for this one. And there was a rumor this one was discontinued, but it is moving into that other collection, so soon you'll be able to get it. But this to me is one of the best benzoin fragrances out there. Really love the way it smells. So this is DIPTYQUE's BENJOIN BOHEME. Really wonderful stuff. Then moving on to the house of Thomas de Monaco. This is one of the newer fragrances on this list. This is Raw Gold, this one right here, the original Raw Gold. I was going to show the new version, the updated version of Raw Gold. Sadly, I can't find my bottle because I took my bottle to on trip with vacation, and I think it's at home somewhere, and I haven't brought it back. But this stuff is amazing, really long lasting. Both versions are great. The original version is a bit animalic. The new version is more the patchouli that is prominent in this fragrance against like a honeyed amber note. But really earthy patchouli, really super sexy, intense and very, very long lasting because it's extrait de parfum. And I wore that quite a bit on my trip here and there. And I could smell myself all day long because it leaves a great trail. It clings on and smells fantastic. But if you like the idea of, you know, Raw Gold with its patchouli, the honey, the resins and things like that, you're really going to enjoy this one. It's patchouli once again, but it's totally, totally different than JOVOY Psychedelique. So this is one of the fragrances that I'm obsessed with as of late, and I couldn't live without it because it smells super fantastic. So Thomas de Monaco Raw Gold is an absolutely fantastic fragrance. So we're continuing on with the patchouli theme here because it's one of my favorite notes. This is TIZIANA TERENZI's URSA, one of my favorite fragrances for a long time. Yes, it does smell a bit like Straight to Heaven from Kilian, but it is a lot stronger and a bit more animalic. But I love the combination of patchouli with dried fruits, the rum, there's leather here, there's tobacco, a bit of oud, some incense, elemi, nutmeg, vetiver, Labdanum, vanilla. The vanilla does come in, but it's not as super strong. It's the dried fruits, patchouli, rum combo, and you've got that leather and tobacco as well. Really intoxicating smell. Once again, very, very long lasting, and definitely one of my favorite fragrances from the house of TIZIANA TERENZI. URSA is super fantastic. I love the way it smells. Going to the house of MAITRE Parfumeur at Gantier, it's Ambre Perso, this one right here. So Ambre Perso is one of the best amber fragrances out there. Really, really love this stuff. And I like its, balsamic qualities with this amber. It has resins like myrrh, and then lavender for aromatic touches, and then of course there's nutmeg in here to give it a bit of a spice. And as I always say, nutmeg has the spiciness, but it's not necessarily like full-on in-your-face holiday spice. It's a warm spice, but it's a bit non-distinct. Doesn't have a very strong smell like cloves and cinnamon has. So if they add this note in here, this fragrance would be completely different. I think the combination of the notes are really, really wonderful and makes for a really, really great, one of the best amber fragrances out there. So it's Maitre Parfumeur at Gantier, Ambre Perso. If you don't know that one, do check it out. I do have to say, several of the fragrances I've spoken about here so far have made it into my Scent Club kits. Raw Gold, Psychedelique, and Ambre Perso. But moving on to the house of Serge Lutens, this is Fia Nagui, this one right here. Are you familiar with this one? Definitely one of my favorite fragrances from this house. A bit tough to get. The fragrances are not distributed from Serge Lutens here in the States yet. Maybe it's changed already, but I believe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they decided to pull out distribution. But this to me is a wonderful pine fragrance with an ambery, fruity edge to it. It has dried fruits, and I love the dried fruits contrasted against the pine and the incense. There's also balsam fir here, spices, bay leaf, vetiver. Just imagine you're having like a dried fruit compote where you're sitting in some cabin in the woods. There's a fire burning, you can smell some smoke, and you can smell the pine and fir trees out there. It's a bit cold, but it's warm inside. That's the kind of setting this fragrance has, and I love that about it. So this is Fia Naigi from the house of Serge Lutens. This is an amazing fragrance. Check it out if you don't know it. But one of the newer fragrances in this list right now, and one of my favorite fragrances as of the last couple of years, and another fragrance that was featured in Scent Club is Une Nuit Nomade's Jardin de Misfa, this one right here. This is a rose fragrance with almonds and saffron. Definitely kind of has a bit of a Middle Eastern rose water dessert almond kind of a theme here. That's the experience I get with this one, along with the dates. Dates and almonds are some of my favorite things to eat. Open up the dates, stuff it with an almond, and put it in your mouth and eat it. Absolutely love that. It's a delicious treat. And of course you can sprinkle it with a little rose water, and that's the kind of effect I get with this one. So it's dates, rose absolute, rose essence, saffron, almonds, so you've got the bit of a creamy dates touch here, a bit honeyed, and a bit of sweet rose water, kind of an effect with all the notes together. Really delicious fragrance. The only other thing with this one, the rose creates a bit of a tartness, so when you wear this fragrance you do get a bit of a tart effect, which I quite like. So there's probably some citrusy notes in here, like bergamot perhaps, maybe a bit of lime or lemons or something, because there's definitely a tart effect here. So this is Une Nuit Nomade Jardin de Misfa. Wonderful offering. Let me know if you're a fan of these fragrances so far, and if you were able to get the kits with those fragrances that were in them. Do let me know, put a comment down. So moving on to a fragrance from a British indie house called Papillon Parfumerie. This is Salome. This is probably the most vintage fragrance in this video, and then also one of the most animalic, I would say. But I'm absolutely obsessed with this fragrance. It reminds me of a animalic take on the current formulation of Bala Versailles by Jean Desprez. I don't know if you guys are aware or familiar with that fragrance. Apparently Michael Jackson wore it. But that fragrance doesn't have the animalic qualities this one does, and I'm really, really in love with it. I do enjoy animalic fragrances, but I like them in little doses. And some people find this really, really animalic. I don't. But I think it's super, super delicious. It has notes of castoreum, hyrax, cumin, jasmine, oak moss, carnation, styrax, tobacco, hay, rose, orange blossom, patchouli, birchwood, bitter orange, bergamot, vanilla. Man, this is so, so, so good. Very, very vintage, chypre style fragrance, but super animalic, sweaty, musky. You know, castoreum, you've got hyrax here, or the hyraceum or Africa stone, animalic notes here, and the cumin as well. Really a top-notch release. Really love the vintage qualities of this fragrance, and I can't get enough of it. So this is Salome from the house of Papillon Parfumerie. Wonderful, wonderful vintage style fragrance that I'm absolutely in love with. So moving on to the house of Sospiro. This is Dolce Melodia, this one right here. This one was a recent obsession, and I can't get enough of it. And what I like about it is its intensity, its really, really wonderful projection, compliment factor, and just a wonderful offering. Really smells delicious. It's a amber floral style fragrance with fruity touches, so amber, fruity, floral. Really, really great fragrance. One of the best from Sospiro. They've done a great job with it. And I believe this is Christian Provenzano. He's created a really, really wonderful offering. It has notes of gardenia, mandarin, vanilla, white musk, sandalwood, orange, pear, blackcurrant. Delicious. This is really, really delicious. Really long lasting. Compliment getter. I love wearing it. So this is Dolce Melodia from the house of Sospiro. An awesome, awesome fragrance. Then moving on to the house of Nasomatto. This is Sadonaso. Yes, I've got this fragrance on here because I love this. This is a really, really great musk. And from the comments I receive, it's funny. Some people say it's really, really animalic and smells like urine and things like that. Other people say it's a gourmand. It's got sweet ambery notes. What do you get with this one? Let me know. Put a comment down. For me, I get like a traditional deer musk effect, but sweetened up with sweet ambery notes. That's what I get. They don't publish notes for the fragrances of Nasomatto, but for me, I get like a sandalwood, tonka beans, amber, some light animalics, musk, tobacco, maybe vanilla, maybe a bit of coffee. It does have a gourmand edge to it, and it's interesting reading the comments too. It's like, as I said, some people say it's a gourmand, no musk, no animalics. Others say it smells awful. It's very musky. It smells like urine and piss and things like that. What do you get? Let me know. But I absolutely love this. I love musks. If you like the idea of original musk from Kiehl's and you want a bit more animalic, you got to try this one. At least to me, it's a nice balance of sweet notes with animalic musk. Anyway, Sado Naso from the house of Nasomatto. That's become my favorite from that house now. But moving on to the house of Lumari. This is Porthole. This one right here. This one also was recently featured in Scent Club. Scent Club number 6? Yeah, Scent Club number 6. I can't believe how good this is, and I can't believe the reactions from people. People are obsessed with this fragrance. I don't know what it is about it, but they really, really love it. It's a crowd pleaser. So it's pineapple with bergamot, salt, ginger, passion fruit, white flowers, caramel, white musk, and woods. And the thing is, it has great longevity for the kind of fresh notes it is. I love the combination of the salt against the fruits. That is really, really unique. It tones down the fruitiness and also creates this kind of light, fruity amber touch. And then you've got the white flowers in there, the gourmand touches. Really a great combination of notes. It's really, really super delicious. One of the best releases as of the last couple of years. Grateful that it was featured in Scent Club, and I'm obsessed with the smell, and I can't get enough of it. I don't have a lot of freshies here. This is definitely one of the only freshies here in the mix. This is Lumari's Porthole. Wonderful offering from the House of Lumari. Alright, this is also a recent discovery. It came out a few years ago. I discovered it early this year, although I had smelled it quite a while ago. Wanted to get my hands on a bottle, and finally am talking about it. This is Caron's DIPTYQUE, this one right here. So I took the 50 ml bottle that I had of this on my trip, used it up on the trip. Now I'm on to my 100 ml bottle. But man, what a wonderful tobacco fragrance with cinnamon, tobacco, chocolate, cocoa, labdanum, benzoin, myrrh, ambroxan, jasmine, iris, frankincense. The chocolate against the tobacco is one of the most unique combinations ever. So you have a kind of a ashy, dirty tobacco against this kind of a gourmand edge with some resins and, you know, ambery touches, and then spices. The spices are so good in here. The combination is so, so delicious. Cinnamon, chocolate, tobacco, amber. Lovely stuff. Really great. This is DIPTYQUE. You know, it's not the loudest fragrance, but for me, I wore it in the heat in Europe, and I was smelling great. Really loved the dry down on me, and you could smell yourself still after the long day. There's fragrances that you can't smell yourself, you know, on you after the end of the day. That stuff you can, even though it doesn't have like the intense projection and sillage and things like that. But the smell is really, really intoxicating. Moving on to the House of Nishane. This is Ambra Calabria, this one right here. Still can't get enough of this one. What a unique amber fragrance this is. A green amber fragrance, and I love that about it. It's with bergamot, amber, green notes, galbanum, coriander, vanilla. It's a fresh, kind of a cozy amber fragrance. There's some things in here just really calms me, and the way it smells. There's green notes in the galbanum, so it's bitterness. The amber is freshened up with the fresh notes that are in here, contrasted with again the greenness and the green notes in the galbanum. So it's toning down its really intense qualities of the amber and making it for a style that you can wear when it's warm outside. You know, there's a bit of spice in here and also vanillic touches, and definitely one of the best from Nishane. It's Ambra Calabria. If you guys don't know that one, do let me know, find out about it. If you don't know about it, please get your nose on it. If you like the idea of an amber that you can wear in the summertime, definitely check that one out. Moving on to the House of Atelier des Ors. This is Rouge Sarré, this one right here. Still can't get enough of this one. This one is like a Middle Eastern dessert. It's such a delicious fragrance. One of the best from this house, and I'm hoping they would come out with an extrait de parfum, because they have 3 extrait de parfums now. This, I hope, is the number 4. This is plums, dates, cinnamon, vanilla, patchouli, Peru balsam, gaiac wood, heliotrope, sandalwood. Just imagine, you know, you've chopped up plums, dried plums, and also, you know, dates, dried dates in a bowl, and you're drizzling it with some kind of a honeyed molasses thing, and you're going to eat into that. That's the kind of experience I get with this. It's super, super delicious. So this is Rouge Sarré from the house of Atelier des Ors. Wonderful, wonderful offering. Then we're moving on to the house of Tom Ford. It's Tobacco Vanille. I can't get enough of this tobacco fragrance. It's really, really wonderful. I like the combination of the dirty, ashy tobacco with the vanilla. I can smell it. I just opened it up a little bit, and I love that smell. So it's tobacco leaf with tobacco flower, vanilla, cocoa, ginger, dried fruits, spices, intoxicating combination. Perfect holiday fragrance. It smells like the holidays, and I love wearing Tobacco Vanille during Thanksgiving week or on Thanksgiving Day. So it is a really, really great holiday vibe, but it does have that dirty, ashy tobacco in there, and that's what I like about this one, contrasted against the vanilla. Anyway, Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille is super delicious. Let me know if you know that one. I'm sure you do if you've been following this channel, because I talk about it quite a bit. All right, next we're going to the house of Orza El Legrand. This is Chypre Mousse at the very, very bottom of my bottle. I have another bottle that's backed up. I bought it recently from their store in France. But this Chypre Mousse is such a unique fragrance. It's a kind of a green, earthy Chypre with oak moss, fennel, mint, green notes, angelica, galbanum, clover, mushroom, soil tincture, fern. Very, very unique combination. If you like fragrances that don't smell like other fragrances, you want to stand out, you like the idea of a Chypre, you like earthy fragrances, vegetal fragrances, green fragrances, you've got to get your nose on Chypre Mousse. Such a great fragrance. I think it's a masterpiece the way that fragrance is created. Definitely a masterpiece. But moving on to the house of Chanel. This is Le Lion, this one right here. This is also a masterpiece. This smells really great. A wonderful amber fragrance, but totally, I shouldn't say totally different than Maitre Parfumeur's Ambre Presso, but there's differences here. It does have a bit of a Shalimar vibe from Guerlain. It also has a little bit of Coromandel in here, maybe even a light touch of Coeur de Russie, but it is a great, great designer take on an amber fragrance. One of the best fragrances from the Chanel collection. Of course, it's less exclusives, but really a great, great amber. A bit animalic, a bit smoky, but super delicious at Chanel Le Lion. And then we've got two more fragrances left. We're going to the house of Tom Ford once again. This is Tobacco Oud. I'm still seeing this being sold. It's not 100% discontinued. It sells at Selfridges and Harrods, so they have them in store. It's selling. Also, it's at the discounter Fragrance Net. You can buy it. That's why I'm featuring it here. But it is a bit difficult to get. So it's Tom Ford's Tobacco Oud. Love, love this stuff. It's tobacco with oud spices, sandalwood, incense, patchouli, cinnamon, whiskey, benzoin, vanilla, and cedar. Yes, it's a bit dirty. The ashiness is really in your face. It's also a bit sweaty and a bit boozy. And that's what I like about this one. Such a unique fragrance. One of the best from Tom Ford. I think it's a masterpiece myself. I absolutely love the way it smells. And I will hopefully have this forever in my collection. It's, like I said, one of the best. It's not for the faint of heart, I think. I know people think it smells dirty. It's a bit off-putting and things like that. It's animalic for sure, but in a sweaty kind of way. Anyway, Tom Ford's Tobacco Oud. Really great offering. And then the 21st fragrance, or number 21. This is an unranked list, by the way. We're going to the house of Laboratorio Olfativo. It's Vanagloria, this one right here. I guess we have Dominique Ropion on the list twice. Portrait of a Lady we started with, and we're ending with Vanagloria, where he created it as well. So this, to me, is one of the best vanilla incense kind of fragrances. People do say it reminds them of Baby Cat. Some say it doesn't, but most people do. It's saffron, pineapple, accord, olibanum, two types of olibanum, tonka beans, vanilla, musk. When I say two types of olibanum, it's two different types of extraction processes. But to me, it's a bit leathery, but it's very smoky. The smokiness is, you know, contrasted with the vanillic sweet touches, so it creates for a dry effect here. But the combination smells really great. Perhaps you don't like sickly sweet vanilla fragrances and you like incense, you might want to check this one out because the contrast is really, really great here. Sweet vanillic touches contrasted with the resinous smoky touches of the frankincense, Labdanum notes that are in here. It's a great, great combination. Really, really wonderful offering from the house of Laboratorio Olfativo. And of course, if you like Baby Cat from YSL or Vanilla Barca from Amouage, definitely check this one out. I think they do have similarities, and I think this is definitely one of my favorites here. So this is Vanagloria from the house of Laboratorio Olfativo, and that is the last fragrance I'm talking about today. So let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Are you a fan of them? Do you like them? Maybe you don't like them. Put a comment down below so I can find out. Last but not least, let me know some of your favorite fragrances that you couldn't live without. What are the ones that you reach for over and over and over again? Put a comment down below so I can find out. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.